Hey YouTube. The topic of today's video is one that has been burdening me for quite some time. I've discussed in past videos how I've wanted to make this video, but to just be completely transparent with you guys, I have stalled making this video because I know there will be a backlash. I know that not everybody who watches this video will be receptive to what I say or will want to have heard it at all. I pretty much expect to get a certain amount of hate by making this video, but the reason I'm driven to do this is because of the type of personality I have. I very much value truth and honesty above everything else, and when I see omission of truth and direct dishonesty being used as marketing techniques, it burdens my spirit quite a lot, actually. And for this reason, I've actually put a lot of time and effort into researching this topic to make sure that I'm not just spouting nonsense. This video is going to have a lot of meaning to me personally because it is my attempt at counteracting the nonsense that I'm seeing going on, specifically in the cosmetics world. So the topic of this video is indeed going to be cosmetics and animal testing. Now, I am not going to make this about animal testing as used in medicine. I've even found that within the cruelty-free world, there are a lot of people who are still in favor of animal testing when it comes to medicine. They're just very different topics, and I don't want this video to be 8 hours long, so we're going to stick to just that topic today. And I also want to say real quickly that there is a persistent belief that I've seen surface many times when the phrase cruelty-free pops up, and if you hold this belief, I'd really rather you exit out of my video now. We just very strongly disagree, and that is anybody who says that we shouldn't test on animals, we should instead test on prisoners. I have a lot of problems with that statement, just glossing over the fact that many people in our prison system are actually innocent, and we know this for a fact, statistically speaking. My issue with this is that anytime you create a hierarchy of humans, that is to say that some people are meaningless, you run into some problems. That's actually kind of how the Nazis were able to brainwash an entire nation into believing that they were a superior human race. And within the prison system, we have a disproportionate amount of poor people as well as people of color. So basically, anybody who makes that statement is saying that the lives of somebody's mother, father, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, child mean less than a rat. I don't want to discuss that. I very strongly disagree with that statement, and I do believe that a lot of people say that out of ignorance, but ignorance is not an excuse for invalidating other human lives. So yes, I'd prefer you please exit. I don't care if you hit the dislike button on your way out. I'm just not going to have that conversation any further. So in order to delve into this topic of animal testing and cosmetics, we need to take a historical approach. We need to ask how we got to where we are now, and so to do this, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the modern cosmetics. Now, thankfully, this isn't too far back, only 100 years or so, but we do run into a little bit of an odd instance in which cosmetics started. The first women to wear cosmetics were, whether or not this was true, were considered to be prostitutes. And it wasn't really until Hollywood and actresses began wearing cosmetics and people started to emulate their favorite actresses that it became an acceptable thing to wear. Now, interestingly, the cosmetics industry did not start with animal testing. It took an incident to happen for us to begin the testing process at all. In the 1930s, a woman was using mascara, she got it into her eyes, and her eyes began to burn. She ended up going blind from this, and that is when we realized we should probably make sure that the products go through extensive testing before women start applying them onto their eyelashes. In 1938, the FDA passed into a law that we were allowed to do animal testing on cosmetics. Interestingly, it's always been allowed and not mandated in the United States of America. Now, what happened between 1940 and 1980 is a lot of not particularly acceptable tests. I think we can all agree on this. I think we can also all agree that there's really nothing we can do here in 2017 to change these tests that were done. But yes, indeed, there were some very cruel and harsh tests that were conducted on animals in this time period. The reason for these tests I will be getting into later in this video, but there just wasn't a lot of thought that went into the animal suffering. If you are at all aware of the field of psychology, there were also a lot of pretty terrible tests that went on in humans. It wasn't a great time for us as a world. Now, by the 1990s, we started to focus more on being humane in general. We started to look for alternative methods. This means human testing, in vitro testing, all of that, and significantly reduced the amount of animal testing that was going on. Many countries banned cosmetics testing on animals completely. Now, the wording through which they use in order to place these bans is the ban against all newly tested products. The reason that wording is so important is because it actually is in line with complementary testing. Now, what this means is that you can use older animal studies that may have been used in pretty awful methods. You can still use those as part of your evidence for how your product is safe, and possibly combine that with the in vitro studies, combine that with the human studies, and a product is perfectly safe and is perfectly cruelty-free. But is it? So I want to give you guys some examples of what this means, just so you can get an understanding. This is going to be a very simplified to the extreme version of explaining how this whole process works, but I'm going to do my best. So next to me I have some very standard ingredients that would go into a cosmetic product. Of course, we have water. I also have glycerin, super common in almost everything. I have a preservative. The reason I have a preservative is because in America you cannot make a product without making it shelf stable, which means it needs to have some kind of preservative. And then I have an acid. And the reason I have an acid is because this is the kind of product that people hear the name of and they freak out. But if you actually look at the ingredients in all of your products, if you go to your bathroom and just take a peek at your ingredients, you'll see that probably almost everything you have contains some form of acid, be it salicylic, lactic, glycolic, etc. It's in there. Now, these 4 products have been tested extensively on animals, both in combinations, mixtures of these products, as well as the products individually. This right here is all of my scientific research. I've got pages and pages of scientific research, as an example, proving the safety of these products. Now let's say I want to make a new product. I take all of these proven safe ingredients, I combine them, I mix them into my own formula. Percentages doesn't really matter. All these products are proven safe. I jar them up. I ask participants to try this product out for X period of time. Everything goes well, and I'm able to put this on the shelf. Now the question here is this product cruelty-free? And if you recognize the product, please know this is just an example. The question is this product cruelty-free? Now, a lot of companies are not going to put on here cruelty-free because they recognize that all of this stuff has been tested extensively. The problem that I'm seeing far too often is when a company comes along and it's a baby company, no history, no testing, started in 2016 kind of deal. That company pulls all these ingredients, makes their own formula, does the exact same thing, and when they release their product, they call it cruelty-free. I'm sure you're wondering how this is possible. These both did the exact same process to make a product here in 2017. Why is one cruelty-free and one isn't? Now the problem comes in with labeling and regulation. I'm going to read to you guys a quote. Companies can make any claim about their animal testing policies because there is no regulated definition of what is cruelty-free. That is super important. Here's some words that you can put onto a product against animal testing. You can be against animal testing and still conduct it, but not like it. What does the word against mean? Finished product not tested on animals. That is true. A lot of people get really upset about that, but finished product not tested on animals is exactly what both of these products were. And here's the kicker. Cruelty-free can just as easily go onto either one of these as finished product not tested on animals. I thought it was really funny that while I was making this video, I had pulled out this glycerin that I got off Amazon, and I happened to notice that this says on it, Greener Life certification pending. That is a perfect example of a label that doesn't mean anything. What does Greener Life certification mean? And in fact, they even put on this Greener Life certification pending, which means absolutely nothing. For the record, glycerin is a really, really simple product to make. It's been extensively tested on animals, but you can Google the formula, you can go make it on your own stove. Is your product cruelty-free? That's just how complicated this issue really gets. I saved this part of the video for a little later than kind of where I feel this actually fits in, but I want to talk real quickly about why we've tested on animals, what the goal was of doing that. So I'm going to talk to you guys about certain products and the risks and why we did what we did. So starting with eye products, mascara, eyeshadow, etc. The reason we tested on animals for those is to guarantee against eye irritation and blindness. That should come as no surprise given the mascara example I started the video with. Lotion and moisturizer. Developmental toxicity and cancer. This also should not be surprising to people because when we're talking about lotions and moisturizers, one thing that we're always looking for, that we get excited about in a product, is how well it absorbs into our skin. When it absorbs into our skin, it's also absorbing into our bloodstream, which intuitively can be problematic. Anything that you put around your delicate eye area, this is where your skin on your face is the thinnest and where it absorbs the most into your bloodstream, as well as your neck, which is also where your skin is very thin. So again, this shouldn't be a surprise as to why we were concerned about these things. Hairspray, inhalation toxicity, no surprise there. Blush and foundation, we were testing against inflammation and lesions. Lipstick and lip gloss, which I also find interesting because the average woman consumes in the span of her life about a pound of lipstick. We were testing for oral toxicity, including seizures, paralysis, and death. Just to be clear, I'm not bringing this up because I'm justifying animal testing. The reason I'm bringing this up is that it's really easy to get excited about not harming animals. It's really easy to pat yourself on the back when you buy a cruelty-free product or think, oh, I'm doing so much for the world, without necessarily considering the other side of things, why scientists ever did these things in the first place. And I just think you can't have this conversation without looking at both sides. You can't. It's a one-sided argument. There's another super controversial topic to address in this video. I just can't gloss over this. So many people do. And that is the current law in the Chinese government that any products, any cosmetics that come into China are required to be tested on animals. Yes, that may sound really harsh, I know, especially for us Americans where this has never been a law. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and really sticky. If Sephora made a statement and said, everybody's welcome into our store, please come into our store and shop with us. You can buy anything you want, unless you're Chinese. I think there would be quite a problem with that statement. However, what people are proposing in a lot of these cruelty-free groups is that companies stay out of China. And the alternate side of this, and I'm not taking a side on this, but the alternate view on this is that by preventing products from being sold in China, you're limiting accessibility. Now, the reason this becomes kind of a bit of a social issue is because the moment we start saying that we deserve these brands and the Chinese people don't, what we're saying is merely because a certain person was born into a certain country where a certain government requires these things, those people don't deserve the same products that we have. I do realize that I veered off a lot off topic, but the reason I'm including those conversations into this video is because it is really important to see all sides of an issue. If you go into an issue only seeing it from one angle and you only ever see it from that angle, then you've limited your own perspective. Now, if y'all know me, y'all know I'm not about to make a video and not have some type of proposal for a solution in my video. And I certainly do have one. And you may have noticed that for a cosmetics video, I'm wearing very minimal makeup. This is quite intentional. I have a proposal for you, and it's related to this. What I see going on in this world, and again, my problem with the cruelty-free, is I see a lot of people going with this cruelty-free movement and saying, here's what you need to do. You need to grab all of your products that don't say cruelty-free on them, throw them into the trash, and immediately go and buy products that say they're cruelty-free. I hope I've already demonstrated why that's problematic in the first place. There's more problems implicit there, which includes the fact that we are filling our landfills at disastrous rates. I don't think you should throw away any of your makeup, and I really hope that I did demonstrate that in this video. I also don't think you should go and buy new products. I have a lot of problems with that. What I think you should do, and what I think is actually realistic, now obviously you could stop wearing makeup, but nobody's gonna do that. So here's my proposal. Next time you need to go to the store for a mascara because you ran out, you go into that store, you pick up your mascara, and as you're walking to the register to pay, and you get distracted by those brand new lipsticks, and you remember that you saw a beauty guru on YouTube talking about how absolutely good they were, you pick one up and you're super tempted to buy it, don't. Hold on, there's more to it. If you really want to make a difference for animals in this world, save yourself that $20 for that lipstick, and instead, put that towards a fund. With that fund, save up. It won't take you that long with this current economy of beauty. When you hit a certain point, you have enough hundreds of dollars in there, go down to your animal shelter and adopt an animal in need. If you continue to resist products, you will have no problem feeding and caring for that animal. And you will have made a difference, a much more significant difference than if you switch over to unregulated labels that say cruelty-free. Now, I know this is not a realistic option for plenty of people watching this. It's not for me either. I live in a tiny apartment. I'm not allowed to have animals here. For the rest of us, what we can do, continue to set aside that money and donate it to an animal shelter that has demonstrated their capacity for animal compassion. Donate it to a researcher who is advancing wildlife. I'm going to link some organizations in the description box below that you can check out that I will have already looked over and made sure are not fake organizations, because there's plenty of that too. Yeah. Put your money towards animals, not towards companies that are using marketing techniques. So for me to wrap up and reiterate the point of this entire video, this video is about anti-consumerism. I'm seeing so much of a push to buy more stuff under the guise that you're helping animals. It's actually a push for you to spend more money. It's more consumerism. It's more capitalism. And I just can't get behind it, especially when I absolutely observe that the people who are pushing this are selling products, be it through an affiliation, be it through some type of pyramid scheme. I've seen all of this going on, and I don't support it. At the end of the day, what I'm telling you is as much factual evidence as I was able to find and share with you. If you do find any flaws in what I've presented, please feel free to post in the comments. I'm a very reasonable person. I am very happy to accept constructive criticism, and if I've made a mistake, I will own up to it. I guarantee you that. But this is my attempt at just counteracting all of this. At counteracting not just that, but this ridiculous amount of makeup that we feel like we absolutely need to apply before we come on YouTube and make a video. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're fine. You're beautiful as you are. We just have too much being thrown at us, in too many varieties of ways, and given that this has just, from what I've seen, been another way to exploit consumers, I don't support it. And I don't think that most people are going to watch this video and agree with every point that I've made. I think a lot of people will probably not take anything from this, but I'm hoping that I've at least planted a seed of thought so that the next time you see the two words cruelty-free on a product, you realize that it might not mean anything. And before you do give your dollars to a company who has put that onto their label, at least do the research. Look at what that company is doing. Are they helping animals with the money that they earn? Or is it all just going into the pocket of one CEO? What's going on? What is the story there? That's my video, and with all the sincerity of my heart, I sincerely thank you for watching, because again, this has been a very important video to me, and you guys watching it helped me feel like I didn't just do all this for nothing. So I really do appreciate anybody who watched this all the way through, and I really hope that you found it informative and helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.